Welcome to the Cellar Sessions with Beaver. Let's get this rolling. Hey, welcome back everybody. We're back in the cellar. It's nice to be back for sure. And we've talked about a few different things, and I think last time we talked about the Zenfusion Festival, and I alluded to the fact we talk about Zenfusion, which has become a real big favorite of many of our customers and fans and people in general, and myself included. But there's a little bit of history that goes along with it. So why is it called Zenfusion? Well, originally it was called Vineyard Tribute. And the idea behind it was we were buying from quite a few different vineyards, and it's before we owned too many vineyards when we started the Vineyard Tribute in the mid-90s, something like that. And we tried to encourage our growers to do a really good job, and if we chose their grapes, we'd put their name on the label, and a sort of a tribute to the vineyard, to the growers. And it worked out great, but a couple things happened. One was whoever got their name on there wanted more money for their grapes, so that was kind of backfiring on me. And then one guy started a winery, so sorry, no more grapes. So it was making life difficult to do it that way. And at the same time, we were starting to grow our own grapes. And then I got a letter in the mail from another winery that said, hey, we already have that name. So I got a cease and desist, kind of like Beaver stock. I guess I have a history of cease and desists. That was from the Woodstock people, didn't want us to use Beaver stock. This was from Benzinger Winery, who didn't want us to use the word tribute. They have a wine called Tribute. I understand. On that one I understand. This one I don't understand on Beaver stock. But anyways, so we started thinking about what are we going to do. It had always been a Zinfandel-based wine, and with some Petit Syrah in there. And we started thinking, well, if it's Zinfandel-based, how are we going to come up with a name that shows that? And then the other thing was, it's going to be all our own grapes. We felt like it, now that we grow grapes as well or better than anyone out there anyways. So somewhere, we were trying to figure out somewhere around 2004, I think, is when it changed over to Zenfusion, the vintage. And this was the first iteration. And the first glass that we had they were bottled in was Italian glass, and that's no longer available. Now we're back to domestic and then Mexican. But anyways, this was the follow-up to that label there. And we talked about how I love big bottles. Of course, we have a big bottle of Zenfusion. We're not opening that today. But we did open the Zenfusion from 2005. So this is a 15-year-old bottle of wine, and actually it has the names of the vineyards on the back. This one still had grapes from a good friend of mine, Ishka Stanislas, the vineyard St. Peter of Alcantara, Well Rock, Cobble Creek, and Stone's Throw. Those were the named vineyards at the time. So 15 years ago. Let's see how that is. I already snuck a sip, and pretty good. And then what I was really amazed at, look at that cork. The cork is beautiful shape. No leakage, nothing at all. So maintained really well down here in the cellar. So that's always good. And then I did a tasting today earlier on Zoom, of course, and we had the current Zinfandel, which is made from organic grapes, which is our goal in the long run. So I had poured some of that in here, just as give a little bit of a contrast of styles. And I'm really blown away. There is still like raspberry fruit in this wine from 15 years ago. What was the alcohol back then on this one? 14.5 is what it says. Might have been 15. I mean, still beautiful colors. Not even turning brown at all. Sometimes you'll see that in older wines. Good color, good clarity. This one here's got a little more purple to it because it's younger, but wow, I could drink this all day. Might. And that's one thing I was talking about earlier today. So I was talking about cabs and how well Paso cabs age, and I think people forget about or don't believe or understand that Zinfandels can age maybe not equally as well, but also very well. 15 years old, tasting great. We used to do at the Zenfandel Festival, we used to have a lineup of vertical Zins that people would taste how the older vintages, and they would be amazed, and then they'd start thinking they should save some for themselves. Then in contrast, this has probably maybe just a little touch of Petit Syrah, but it's predominantly Primitivo now. It's kind of our favorite clone of Zin that we grow. The big difference here is just brighter fruit, a little fresher, but also, well, of course, it's younger, so it's really nice. The other thing I noted also in the 2015 is that the oak component is still really fresh. Don't know if you're going to find any of these anywhere. All right. Well, as always, a little chunk of Petit Syrah. We think it really helps round out that style. It's a bigger style of Zinfandel than our estate label, but always super tasty. It's probably the one wine that Tom has really honed in on making year to year.
Consistency.
Yeah, the consistency is unbelievable on this. Golds, 90s, 90 pluses every year. So super proud of Infusion, and I think you guys all know that have tried it, that it's definitely worth a visit. So I want to say cheers, and hopefully we'll see you on the other side before too long.